Welcome everyone to Global 360, your virtual webcast for all things virtual. I am your host, Eric Ham, and we've got a great show lined up for you today. We are going to navigate the corporate space with the CEO of one of the largest and most recognized companies in the world, Phillip Morris. But before we get into our conversation, before we get into this in-depth discussion about all things tobacco and cigarettes, and trust me, you are going to learn so much from this conversation, because in just the 15 minutes that Deepak and I have been speaking, I have already learned a lot about the industry and about the company, and I can tell you, you're going to be fascinated, so stick with us. But in addition to that, I just want to let you know that tomorrow, as we head into the 20th anniversary of 9/11, I will be back with my co-host, Anna Gavale, the editor of the Washington Diplomat, and we are going to get into a conversation around 9/11, what it all means, what has changed over these 20 years, but more importantly, how has 9/11 and now the withdrawal from Afghanistan, America's longest serving war, how has that changed the geopolitical landscape, but more importantly, the role of the United States in it. So be sure to stay tuned and tune in for that very consequential episode. But now I want to get back to this conversation because I'm so excited. We have with us today Deepak Mishra. He is the CEO of Phillip Morris International, and he is in Switzerland right now, where the weather is warm, it's sunny, it's a perfect day. Here in Washington, it's gloomy, it looks like London. So for those of you who are in the UK, a big shout out to you. And Deepak, thank you so much for being with us. Now, I want to jump right in because we don't have that much time. And initially, when we put this together to do this, and we thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule, the first thing that came to mind to me was, okay, we're going to have a conversation with a tobacco company. And so, of course, the conversation is going to center around cigarette smoking, tobacco products. But talking to you in just the 15 minutes that we've had this time to have a conversation, you have been talking, and initially what came to mind was not a tobacco company, not a cigarette company, but a science and technology company. I'm looking at you all and I'm thinking about you in the same way that I would be thinking about perhaps a Tesla or a Microsoft. What has changed, and how has Phillip Morris moved the Titanic to now you are now this S&T company, and it sounds and seems very cool.
Well, Eric, first of all, thank you so much for having me on this show. Happy to jump right into that. One small clarification: I'm the president for the Americas region for Phillip Morris, not the CEO. But
sorry, I gave you a promotion there.
You did a bit, and I felt both gratified and a bit embarrassed, I have to say. But no, happy to share where we stand on our smoke-free transformation. Phillip Morris is International, are the world's largest publicly traded tobacco company. But what we've been doing over the last number of years is we have what we call our smoke-free vision, which is really the transitioning of our business away from cigarettes and towards significantly lower risk products that would help smokers switch out of cigarettes when they cannot quit them. And this journey for us has been ongoing for a number of years. We commercially entered the market in 2015 with IQOS, our heated tobacco product. And have commercialized the product in now nearly over 65 countries. And it now accounts for nearly a third of our revenues. What we're very proud of, more so than the financial results, is the fact that there are now more than 20 million users that actually use IQOS, of which 3/4 have completely stopped smoking. That journey has involved for us significant investments in technology and science. The technology investments have really been making ourselves experts on inhalation technology, on heating, on electronics, and a number of other disciplines that are required for us to develop these products and improve these products at pace. And on life sciences, because when we started this journey, we wanted to really create products that we could absolutely assure ourselves were scientifically proven to deliver satisfaction to consumers at significantly lower levels of harm. We've been very gratified that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration have an excellent approach with the pre-market tobacco product approval and the modified risk tobacco product approval processes, have granted both of these approvals to IQOS, which was the first such product, electronic nicotine product, to be granted that. This journey has involved one significant investment in terms of financial resources. We've invested more than $8 billion over the last number of years in R&D to be able to get to where we are. But it has also involved a significant injection of new talent into the organization from fields as diverse as electronics, digital marketing, pharmaceutical skills, to be able to actually build a base of capability around which we are able to continue to innovate.
And so let's get into that a little bit more, because
Sure.
You have worked in a variety of different positions at Phillip Morris, and now you're the head of Phillip Morris International Americas. And this is a newly created position that you are going to be heading. And so talk about this new position, why it was created, what it entails, and what it means for the broader business climate landscape that Phillip Morris is moving into.
Sure. My role really has three focus areas. The first is we have an significant existing business in Latin America and Canada, and we have initiated our smoke-free transformation in that region, but that will accelerate significantly over the next number of years. So that's the first focus area. The second focus area is we are commercializing our smoke-free product, IQOS, via our partnership with Altria in the US. And that's something that we're trying to bring all our learnings from international markets to ensure that that partnership actually does get successful in the commercialization of IQOS in the US. But there is a third new area. And we have recently articulated and are starting to execute on something we call our Beyond Nicotine strategy, which I personally find very exciting. What this is we basically, in our journey on our smoke-free transformation, we have had to build a number of skills and a number of areas of expertise on inhalation technology and the life sciences and pharmaceutical skills that actually support it. And what we realized is that a couple of years ago is that we can actually very successfully apply these skills together with some partnerships to areas outside of tobacco and nicotine. And for example, one of these areas is inhalation technologies, much more in therapeutic areas in consumer wellness and pharmaceutical territories. So to that end, we have completed and initiated a couple of acquisitions. And the US market is going to be both a significant source of innovation in these areas for us, as well as an extremely important end market for products that we develop, either ourselves or through the partnerships that we have created. And that's the third aspect of my role, to make sure that we are actually present with these offerings when we're ready to be present in the US.
That's a pretty fascinating transition for the company, because you're the largest tobacco company in the United States. And while you are known for cigarettes, this new phase, this third phase that you mentioned, beyond cigarettes, beyond nicotine, that is going to be, I think, a field that many people are going to be watching. Many health experts, many medical experts, many environmental and climate experts, and of course, the markets, your investors are also going to be watching to see how this plays out. Speak a little bit about where you are in this phase and what it looks like on the horizon, and what's your timeline for implementation? And also talk a little bit about what success will look like.
Look, I think we're in the very early stage of our Beyond Nicotine strategy. We are pursuing 3 acquisitions at this point in time, all of which is in the public domain. The first is a company called Fertin, which has a lot of expertise in the area of fast release oral solutions in the consumer and pharmaceutical space. The second is a company called Vectura, who are one of the leading players in the inhaled therapy space. And the third is a company called Otitopic, which is a small but very talented startup in the US that actually do inhaled solutions in myocardial infarction therapeutic areas with aspirin. And we have a number of product pipeline ideas of our own. So we're very early in that stage. We have a number of pipeline areas. We have a number of capabilities that we have. There are a number of other capabilities that we need to build. We will then actually get seriously into product development. And when we are ready, we will commercialize and obviously seek the right relationship with regulators in order to do so.
Now, just being honest, we know that there has been some reputational damage when it comes to smoking, but now you all are investing an enormous amount in the science and moving into a smoke-free environment. And so I want you to talk about the science behind that, because you are now a science and technology company. You are a company that's on the level and the mode of a Tesla, a Microsoft, an Apple, in terms of your innovation and where you are heading and how the market is changing. But you also mentioned that you have 20 million smokers. So does that mean you are moving your smokers to a different realm, or are you bringing in new people who will be using your products?
So with respect to clarify, Eric, when the 20 million number is not, the people who use IQOS are smoke-free product. And the vast majority of them all of them used to be smokers. They aren't, and 3/4 of them aren't anymore, right?
Okay.
So that's one. So we are bringing, in terms of where we work with IQOS, our position is that if you're a smoker and if you can't quit, you should. But a lot of smokers can't quit or find it very difficult to quit. And the next best option for them is to actually switch away from smoking and into smoke-free products that offer a significantly lower level of harm, potentially. And that's what we try to do. We don't market our products to people who don't smoke, our IQOS products to people who don't smoke. And that's something that we're quite diligent about, ensuring that our in-field execution assures. In terms of the products that we will bring to the market, not now, it'll take us a few years to do that. In the beyond nicotine space, that's not targeted at smokers. That's targeted at people that have the issues that these products solve, right, from a health and wellness perspective. In terms of the science that backs this up, science and technology that backs this up, we invest in significant technology skills in a number of areas, but to sort of classify them a little bit, we invest quite a lot in electronics, right? Because and software, because that's very much at the heart of many of our products. We invest significantly behind aerosolization technology, which is all the different ways to actually get a molecule to get aerosolized in a safe and effective way. We invest quite significantly behind agronomy, because ultimately the products that we make have botanical roots. We invest quite a lot in manufacturing technologies that actually allow these products to be delivered. And in terms of science, the science that actually surrounds this really has, let's say, 3 or 4 building blocks. The first is our understanding of testing products. and ensuring that from an aerosol chemistry, from aerosol composition, that these products do what we say they do, and they don't contain or contain very limited amounts of harmful substances in them. The second thing that we focus quite a lot on is how to actually do in vitro and in vivo testing and clinical trials, right? Much the way a pharmaceutical company would, in order to make sure that that the results we expect the products to deliver are actually getting delivered, and we validate that, right? I'm not being exhaustive, but giving a bit of a flavor of the areas that we actually invest in. And of course, from a marketing and commercialization perspective, one of the things that we try to do is our approach to reaching consumers has to strike the balance between getting information to smokers about these products while ensuring that people who don't smoke don't really get exposed, right? So we have to be very targeted in marketing, and that of course involves significant investments in the digital marketing area, which is very, very important to us as a tool to get these products to our consumers. So those are the kinds of areas that our science and technology investment gets directed to.
I want to ask you a question about what's happening internationally. Mm-hmm. And then I want to bring it back to the United States, where sure. You are going to be based in this new division that's going to be set up. In the developed world, smoking has gone down, but in the developing world, smoking has gone up. Talk a little bit about how you are working with foreign governments on this, and speak to how the local DC diplomatic community is playing a role in what you all are doing, but also in the trends that we're seeing, whereas in the developing world, smoking's going down, but in the developing world, smoking is going up, in the developed world, smoking is going
down. Eric, our cigarette volumes, our combustible cigarette volumes decline every year, right? In both sets of markets. Governments and public authorities have a massive role to play to define the regulatory frameworks, right, that can accelerate large-scale switching as quickly as possible. And we talk to governments across the world to make this point, including in developing markets. Very much so. Those conversations are very much ongoing and active. We believe, obviously, that a lot of that regulation effectively, in terms of commercialization of less harmful product, as I mentioned earlier, needs to balance two things, right? One, smokers need to receive accurate information about these products and their benefits and their risks, because they're not risk-free. Non-smokers and youth need to be protected and not use these products. That's the position we take, and these translate to regulatory recommendations, which we make to governments across the world. Post-market surveillance, which is the ability to say, well, we commercialize this product, this is what we thought would help. This is what we thought would happen. Does it actually happen? This is something that we work with governments to try and put the framework in. The most important thing that we find is to actually get this public health balance is to really help governments update regulations that for tobacco that were put into place when these smoke-free products were not available, right? Which is the case in many, many markets, including many developing markets. Today, IQOS is available in, like I said, 60 plus countries. This includes OECD countries and developing markets. By 2025, our ambition is that the figure that I gave you earlier, which is 20 million users, goes up to 40 million, of which half we expect to be in non-OECD countries, right? As a result, we have actually introduced already our smoke-free products in a number of developing markets. That will accelerate quite significantly over the next years. And even in markets where we haven't launched but plan to, we're quite rapidly reallocating our resources to support the launch of these products. So that's something that, I mean, our goal to effectively replace cigarettes with smoke-free products is not a developed market goal. It's a global goal. It's for all adult smokers.
Now let's turn to the United States, where you are going to be running this new division. And Let's talk a bit about what's happening, and let's talk about the landscape in the United States that you're certainly going to be confronting. You know, a part of that landscape is a shift that we're seeing in these types of products, where now the rise in popularity of marijuana and all of its different products is becoming very, very strong in the United States. You have more and more states that are legalizing marijuana. And also you have the Senate Majority Leader, Chuck Schumer, who has said between now and the end of this congressional session, he would like to bring marijuana legalization to the floor for a vote to make it legal at the federal level as well. So clearly what we're seeing here is there's tremendous momentum in the United States for marijuana to be legalized nationally and to meet the demand, and of course what we're seeing across the states. Is this something that Phillip Morris will seek to become more involved in, particularly as it becomes more widespread? And also, what does that mean for you all, given what we're seeing, at least in the United States, the demand for marijuana?
Our focus really remains on transitioning our business from cigarettes, first of all, into smoke-free nicotine products, and second, into some of the areas that I talked about beyond tobacco and nicotine. As I think we've said in a number of forums, we are not entering the marijuana market, the cannabis market, but we are following developments closely. And the main reason really is going back to, I think, what we discussed a little bit earlier, which is as a science-based company, if we enter a space, we do need to understand the science, and at a level at which we can basically both create differentiation, but also advise consumers of the benefits and the risks. And I think that level of science will take some time to emerge in the cannabis area. We in particular watch the medical cannabis space very closely, because our hypothesis is that if that science emerges, it will emerge in the medical cannabis area first. And as the market develops, as the category develops, as regulators start considering new policies, we will watch that space carefully. But at this point, we're not planning to participate in it.
And so talk about your role as the head of the Americas division. What do you see in terms of your role, in terms of engaging, and also speak a little bit about the marketplace, the trends, and what are some of the challenges that you will be facing as you head up this new division?
Look, I think there's a number of aspects, right? I mean, if we look at the nicotine space, obviously the thing that we're watching with great interest is the market as it stands today, where our partners Altria are getting started with IQOS, and there is traction. The electronic cigarette e-vapor space, of course, is something that has evolved with great speed. Hit a number of roadblocks. The FDA will point towards which products can stay on the market based on their ability to tell the balance between how good these products are for public health and the risks they cause in terms of user audiences that are not intended. And it's a very fast-changing landscape. So we watch that with interest. In the beyond nicotine area, or the spaces that we are looking at in the beyond nicotine area, there is tremendous innovation ongoing, and startups and mid-sized companies actually driving tremendous innovation that we're looking to partner with and we're looking to benefit from. And in the broader region, including Latin America and Canada, of course, we really look forward to working with our trade partners and with governments to really bring the smoke-free transformation that we speak of in other parts of the world to the region at scale, right? So those are the 3 or 4 things that we watch with interest. But I'm sure once I get over there, I'll be able to say more.
Yeah, and I want to end with a conversation on the pandemic, because we cannot have this conversation without talking about what's happening and how it's impacting the Americas. If you look at what's taking place across the globe right now with this pandemic, two of your most highly impacted places are actually in the Americas, the United States and Brazil. And so you are going to be, you're coming into a firestorm where you've got this pandemic, which is a respiratory infection. I'm dumbing it down, of course, but you still have in the United States major caseloads. Brazil is also, again, another problem area as well. And of course, even in Latin America, you have some other countries as well where the pandemic has really been problematic. And so this is going to be an issue. And even though Phillip Morris is now seen more as a science and technology company, less as a tobacco company, the fact that you have this pandemic, the fact that it is impacting our very ability to breathe, it seems like that is going to pose some challenges for you even before you get here.
Well, look, last year presented us with a multitude of challenges, right? And what we found, right, and as we rose to meet them, is the biggest thing that we look at in our company, which is, are we growing significantly the number of adult smokers that are switching to IQOS from cigarettes, right? And what we found is that we did, actually, quite significantly. The pandemic initially affected our ability to get to consumers, but what we did was we enhanced significantly our digital infrastructure, which reached our consumers and engaged with adult smokers, even at a time when people effectively couldn't go to retail. We learned a huge amount last year on how to do that in terms of switching people away from cigarettes and into IQOS through digital methods, and ultimately switching fully to smoke-free products. So IQOS was very, very resilient in exceptional circumstances, and that is our big lever to help. And I'm very proud to say that we were able to do that at scale last year. And our resilience, I think, and the innovation of our colleagues on the ground proved to be incredibly important in actually helping get to that outcome. And we continue to absolutely push on that in every market that we're in.
And we'll end it on this question here, because I think this is a fascinating question, because we are seeing a number of companies struggle post-pandemic. You look at the automotive industry and their inability to be able to bring products to market because there is a shortage of computer chips. You look at a number of other companies who, either through manpower or supply chains, simply aren't able to ramp up as quickly as they would have liked or they would have hoped to. Is this an issue that is impacting Phillip Morris as well? Or do you foresee supply chain issues being a problem for Phillip Morris, and particularly for this new Americas division that you're going to be heading up?
We run a global supply chain for the company, and the semiconductor shortage issue is something that I think our colleagues are dealing admirably with. And we have a very flexible supply chain that allows us to reallocate production and move things around to account for volatility in the external situation, which is of course happening. And so far, we're absolutely fine. And what we're trying to do is to really make sure that we increase in our supply chain a huge amount of agility, which has been an ongoing task for our colleagues in our operations function, to ensure that that volatility does not affect our ability to produce products and to get products to consumers and to continue switching adult smokers to IQOS. And I'm glad to see that that is certainly the case so far, but it is something that we watch extremely carefully, because this is, of course, a very big global issue at this particular point.
We're going to leave it there. Thank you so much, Deepak Mishra. He is the president of Phillip Morris International's Americas division. He will be moving from beautiful Switzerland to the United States and to the Americas to oversee this new division. Mr. Mishra, we certainly congratulate you and look forward to all the success that you will have, and particularly as Phillip Morris continues to move into the S&T arena. We're glad to see that. We know regulators and activists are as well. Thank you so much for taking time out of your very busy schedule to come on the show with us. And also for our viewers, for those of you who would like to see the show, if you didn't get a chance to watch it in its entirety, you can go to our website at washingtondiplomat.org and you can watch it in its entirety there. Also, do not forget our 9/11 special that will be co-hosted by myself and Anna Gavel, our managing editor at the Washington Diplomat, where we will commemorate the 20-year anniversary of 9/11. Thank you all for joining us. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks very much, Eric. I really appreciated being invited on the call, and I wish you and your audience a very good day.
Thank you.